Here is one of the all-time greats, at one time the male entertainer of the year, the country music singer of the year, a multiple Grammy Award winner, a superstar on television and on the stage, and now the author of The Rhinestone Cowboy, his autobiography. Here is Glen Campbell. Glen, it's really great to see you because I know you in real life, and I'm happy that you're with us tonight. How you been, okay?
Just wonderful, wonderful. I've been catching your show. You look great. Yeah.
Thanks. Let me ask you here about the early chapters in this book. You grew up in Delight, Arkansas, and from what I gather, it was anything but a delight. You were a poor kid.
Yeah, we were. We were very poor. Well, we didn't have a yardstick to measure it by then. Everybody was
you were say we didn't have a yard.
Well, we did. That's where the chickens were. Yeah. Chickens in your yard. No, but it was fine. You know, we had food to eat. I remember being occasionally I didn't get enough to eat, but it wasn't bad. We had little clothes on our back.
Sure.
It was growing up, and I mean, really scratching for everything that you got, Tom. It was amazing.
And what'd your pa do?
He was a sharecropper.
Yeah.
I remember going to, when I was 10 years old, to Wilshire, Ohio, about 50 miles from Fort Wayne, Indiana, to make tomato harvest. 10 cents a hamper. We all went up there and picked tomatoes just to make.
And how big was a hamper, just to give the folks some?
Oh, a hamper was about this big at the top and about that. It's probably a half a bushel.
Wow. So we're talking,
a lot of tomatoes for a dime.
A lot of work for a dime, surely,
yeah.
surely.
I can make $1.50 a day, man, if I work real hard.
And when did you pick up the guitar? Somebody told me your dad gave you a guitar. You were 4 years old, 5 years old?
Well, we had an old pumpkin-back mandolin, and all the family played and sang.
Yeah.
Grandpa Campbell played and sang. Great-grandpa Jesse even sang. I remember him. He was born, my gracious life, in 1850. He died when he was 91 years old, and I'll never forget that old gent. But everybody played and sang, so it was just natural. And when I come along, there wasn't anything left but like a seventh part. So that's probably where I got my high voice from. And it was just marvelous. We'd have musicals at the front porch at the house, and people would just know about it. They'd come by, be driving by, and say, "There's a musical at the Campbell."
I've talked to kids in their youth who found music, like Rosie Clooney and her sister Betty, the Clooney sisters, but they lived in Cincinnati and they got big on WLW radio. Now in Delight, Arkansas, there was no radio station to go on. I mean, did you ever get to the radio station in Little Rock or the big town?
No, we got to the radio station in Hope and the one in Nashville. And they had one in Prescott. There's an album I have called I Remember Hank Williams that me and my uncle are on the cover of. And I was about 10 or 11 years old. And we were playing the Forest Festival in Prescott, Arkansas. That's all around there, just, probably a 20-mile area because, getting around, we didn't have a car.
Sure. And even if you had a car in those days, the roads weren't like they are now.
No, they sure aren't. They got them paved now. I couldn't believe it. Got paved roads, man.
Hey, what a country.
Yeah, what a country.
So you get to the radio station in Hope, Arkansas.
Yeah, and played some shows there on Saturday. And anyway, that way we could play barn dances and stuff like that around there, yeah. But there wasn't no money in it at all. But I didn't realize that until we went to Wyoming, making a little money on the road. Who would go to Wyoming at the end of January? We didn't know from how cold it was in Wyoming.
What's curious is most people who are in the entertainment industry, such as yourself, don't go in it to make money. That's the last thing that you think of when you start a career in singing or in acting or in other forms of entertainment. The last thing you think of is, I'm going to get rich on this.
That's right. That's right. Jack Nicklaus says that about golf. Arnold Palmer says it about golf. They're not thinking about the money. They want to win a tournament.
That's right.
And I wasn't really thinking about it. It was just, Tom, it was so much easier than anything else, and I enjoyed doing it. I mean, as far as manual labor goes, chopping cotton, picking cotton, gathering corn.
Laying pipe, that's tough.
Oh, man. Mixing the mud that they put over the pipes is what I did when I first went to Houston. That was hard work. So I played the guitar. I started playing the little joints around Houston, Texas. I remember out on the old Galveston Highway, the Pilot Inn, the Asa Club, the Pelican Club in Galveston, Texas.
Yep.
Slept in the back of seat of an old 44 two-door sedan. I remember that.
When did it hit you that there was big money to be made in singing and playing guitar?
When the troops started coming through Albuquerque there, like people would come through and do shows. Webb Pierce would come through.
Yeah.
Fair and Young came through Albuquerque, was there. We had a radio show 5 days a week, so when the acts would come through, I remember John Payne. Is that the guy's name?
I think so, yes.
Not John Wayne, but John Payne came through. He was promoting a movie, and they'd come on our radio show.
Didn't he have a series on television, John Payne? I think he had,
did.
One of these half-hour westerns that was popular back in the 50s.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Fair and Young show came through.
Yeah.
And Farron came down to promote the show. And his special guest was Elvis Presley. Wow. And that was on a Sunday night, and I got to go down and see him in the Raw. I mean, I saw Elvis and the three guys, and it was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And Farron was smart enough at that time, after he went on last one night, and he said, all them girls, Glen, say, we want Elvis, we want Elvis. Anyway, it was a Farron Young show, but Farron would go on first from that part on, and then he'd introduce a special guest, Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
It was great fun. So I knew that there was money to be made in the business.
Much has been written about this book. The advance has focused, as it always does, on the negatives. And I don't want to dwell on the negatives, but you're quite candid in here about your, I mean, you took it all on. You took on booze, you took on cocaine, you took on drugs. I mean, you really took on the demons. And you eventually wrestled them to more than a draw. You beat them. But without going into a lot of details or dwelling on it, how did that ever get into your life? Considering the fact that you were at the top of the heap. You really didn't have anything to be depressed or upset about. You
Gullible, hanging around with the wrong people, that type of thing. That's how I got into it. And when you get into it, it's like, you know, alcohol and drugs don't mix in a marriage.
Not at all.
The marriage, poof, out the window. And then you get wondering why, maybe it's my fault, maybe it's his fault, and you just keep doing it. It went for about 6 years. I
mean, you wrote in here that for most of the 1970s you had a problem with alcohol.
Yeah, I did, most 70s. The cocaine didn't start till the late 70s, like 1975.
What was it, like you're at a party or something? Or you're in a room with some people?
Yeah, you know, try this. I didn't know what it was, you know. Fine, you know, and all of a sudden you feel like the left side of your face is gone. I said, boy, I like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing like having half your face gone, you know.
It's stupid. You know, but when you're drunk to begin with, you don't notice it.
True.
And I was.
True.
I just went out and thought I'd feel like what it was to waller with the hogs a while, I guess.
Yeah, but what's amazing to those of us who watched you perform in the 70s is you really didn't give it away that much. I mean, you came on stage and you seemed to be in command and you seemed to have poise. You knew the words. You didn't forget them, at least in the performances we saw. Man, how did you do that? I mean, I went on the air once as a kid doing weather in Atlanta, and I was drunk, and I couldn't get through it. And I made my decision that night, you know, if you're going to drink, don't do it when you have to go on this sucker.
I wasn't a morning drinker. It was like in the evening, when the evening started.
Sure.
For the second show sometime, I'd cancel some second shows in Vegas sometimes.
Really?
Because of it. But the second show, I just go out and wing it, you know.
Yeah.
It was just...
Like, the guy would come out and he'd say, Mr. Campbell is calling in piped, or I mean, you know, how do you get out of a second show?
He's ill tonight.
Oh, I got you.
But it was just stupid, Tom. That's all I know.
Anyway, like I say, for people who want the complete story, they can read the book. I don't want to...
It's in the book. That is exactly right. And it shows, like the guy asked me, he said...
Let me have you hold the thought. I got a little commercial I have to do here. Then we'll continue with Glen Campbell and get on to your phone calls on the toll-free highway. You know the number by heart, but you can write it down if you haven't already. It's 800-745-2622. The book is called The Rhinestone Cowboy. The man we're coming back with is Glen Campbell. I think this is the first time we've had live music here. I don't think anybody's ever brought the instrument out and played for us. Yeah, thank you. That's very, very nice. You were about to say... You're going to tell a little story here. A man said to you, we were talking about...
Oh, yeah. I said it's in the book. If I could keep one person from going through what I went through, because some people can't come back from it. They get too hooked on it. I know a lot of people that quit drinking, and they die for some reason or other. But I said, if it can keep one person from going through the hell that I went through during that period. I didn't realize how bad it was till I got out of it and looked at it and seen people.
Yeah.
And I said, it's worth writing the book, you know. Besides
sure it is. Sure it is. Plus, you know, people want to know. People are curious these days.
Yeah.
And they would rather hear it from you than they would from the writer for a tabloid or a gossip sheet.
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
or somebody misquoting it or getting it wrong. Or making it, you know, worse than it was. It could have been worse, you know.
We was down at the Hope tournament at his house. He had throws a party, and I asked Frank, I said, how can anybody write an unauthorized autobiography? And just ask him that made him mad. he said, you know, I don't know. And that was in the back of my mind. And my manager, Stan Schneider's my manager.
Yeah,
you know Stan, I think.
Sure do.
And he said we should write one before an unauthorized.
Yeah, because somebody's going to do it,
somebody's going to,
and they're going to get it wrong.
And I said, I'm gonna say it like it was. Period. I got to tell, you know, you can't. You know, otherwise it'd be like Whitewater if I did. You know, something else would be coming out every week if you don't tell the truth up front.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, Whitewater, and I'm not that conversant on what happened there, but I read all these stories about people upset that Hillary Clinton invested $1,000 and made $100.
Oh, right.
Isn't that kind of what America's supposed to be?
Yeah, she's bullish in the industry.
Yeah, I mean,
the cow industry.
like, do you invest money to lose it? I don't think so. I think you kind of want to make some money. Anyway, let me go to Al here in San Diego, California. Hi, Al. It's Tom. Hello, Al.
you. I've tried for years to get through to you. I've been a fan for years. Before I ask Glenn his question, can I ask you something?
Sure you can, Al.
Can you do your imitation of Dan Aykroyd doing you?
No, I can't. There's no such thing, Al. I'm sorry.
A question for Glenn.
Sure.
Yeah.
Without getting personal, I'm keeping it to the entertainment side of the business. What would you consider your high point in the industry and your low point?
Oh, well, the high point was, I think, getting to do the Summer Brothers Smother show with that cast of writers
Sure.
and everything. That exploded Glen Campbell into this thing that I never dreamed.
Well, that was
I
the
would do.
forerunner of the Good Time Hour, or was that the Good Time Hour?
It was the forerunner.
Yeah.
The Summer Brothers Smother show, and then went right into the Glen Campbell Good Time Hour.
Yep.
That was probably one of the high points of my life.
Yep.
And the low points was at the end of like 1980, that area, when the drugs and the alcohol were real bad. And another divorce, you know.
Yep.
And going through that. That was really one of the low points of my life. When I'd lay there and I'd cry and pray, you know, for deliverance. And lo and behold, it came.
Can I ask something that's real quick?
Sure.
How did Rhinestone Cowboy come about? How did you get that song?
I heard it on the radio. I heard it on the KNX here. And it just knocked me out because that's when I was going through the divorce, and it said there's been a load of compromising on the road to my horizon, and it just hooked me. And then the second verse says there will be a load of compromising on the road to my horizon, and I said that makes sense to me. But
Yep.
it's such a great hook. Little kids that come up, you know, or their dads would say, "Look, Glenn, my son can sing one of your songs."
Yeah.
And this little 4-year-old kid would say, "Like a Rhinestone Cowboy." I said, "Yeah, son, that's great." And they were so cute, you know.
Al, I'm glad you called. Many
Thanks
thanks.
so much, Tom. Keep it up for many, many more years.
All right, you're very kind, sir. Thanks.
yeah.
Bye-bye now. Here is Melody in Lake Tahoe, California. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Melody, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Glenn's right here. Say hi.
Hi, Glenn.
Hi, Melody.
The reason I called, I never thought I'd get this opportunity to tell you the story.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, now, this was probably when I was around 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother would tell us kids the story that you were our cousin,
Oh, really?
which we thoroughly believed.
Is your last name Campbell?
No.
Oh.
No, my last name is Miller, actually, but it never occurred to us that she would tell us a fabricated story. So we would go to school, and we would tell all our friends. I was very popular, by the way. My cousin was Glen Campbell. Well, she died about 6 or 7 years ago, which is when we found out the truth,
Yeah.
as disappointed as I was. But just the opportunity to share this with you. I mean, this is an honest-to-God true story. Up until a few years ago, I thought we were related. So...
Well, that's great, cousin. Thank you. I
Really?
appreciate you calling in.
All
and
right,
just
Melody.
quickly, I want to say to Tom,
Yes, ma'am.
now the rumors I've only heard by watching your show.
Right.
Don't go to late night.
Okay.
Stay right where you're at.
Okay.
The whole show's great. Okay.
Melody, I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night now.
Good night,
Bye.
Melody.
Michael, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Tom.
Go ahead, please.
I know you're fine.
Yes, I am.
Everybody asks me, you're fine. We all
I'm fine. It's a way, but you know what it is, Michael? It's a way of shaking hands on TV. You know? Anyway, here's Glenn. Say hello.
By the way, Tom, stay where you are.
Okay.
Glenn, I'm sorry that you had to write this book because I don't think anybody would have ever known the problems you had you not written the book. But I'm glad you got to it before somebody else got to it.
Me too.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
I was a DJ for a long time, and there were some rumors about, and I want to ask you directly,
Okay.
did you or are you on the record with the Champs, Tequila?
No, I'm not on the record with them. I started with them in 1960. That was after Tequila. It was Seals and Cross and myself, a guy named Bob Morris, and a kid named Jerry Cole on guitar. And it was great fun. We was out on the road with Jack, Scott, Danny and the Juniors on that William Morris tour, you know.
But that story went around records for a long time, you know,
Yeah.
that you were on Tequila.
I wasn't on Tequila. I was on Limbo Rock,
Were you?
our big instrumental hit we had when I was
We're
with
not
the
on
Champs.
Tequila.
Right. And
Not on Tequila. What else, Michael? I'm down to time here, pal.
Okay, I'm sorry. The other thing is Beach Boys. Did you play with them? And if you did, on what songs that were hits or on what albums?
Oh, yeah. From inception almost up and through Pet Sounds, I was on their records. And I was on the road live with them playing bass and you know. It's a little old lady from Pasadena. It's a little old lady from Pasadena.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh, my God, I thought I'd go crazy the first week.
We thought we were going to go crazy.
Yeah, I was with them.
Just right here. Yeah.
But I mean, just...
Michael, I'm glad you called. Thank you, my
Thanks,
friend.
Mike.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, bye-bye. Anyway, the book is called Rhinestone Cowboy, the Glen Campbell Theater. Is that what it's called in Branson, Missouri?
Glen Campbell Good Time Theater. State-of-the-art, Tom, has never been sat in, never been applauded in.
When is it open?
June the 7th we're opening, and we're having the grand opening on June the 28th, I
We'll
think.
look forward to it. Glenn,
Me
thanks
too.
for joining
Thank
us
you,
tonight.
Tom.
Okay,
Great
Glen
seeing
Campbell,
you.
book is called Rhinestone Cowboy.